I'd like to call order to the, let's see, August 16th, 2022 meeting. Let's see, Mark Klecker, president. Rich is president. Present. Jason, present. Is Tony on Zoom?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And Colin?
Present.
Present. Yes. Present.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And how about Amanda?
No.
Okay. All right. Everybody read the minutes, last month's minutes, and any problems with them? No? I need a motion?
Second.
Motion. Do that every time. You're making a motion? I need a second.
Second.
You'll second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, number 3. You want to take over this?
Yeah, I can read it off. Thank you. Review of a waterfront conditional use application located at 102 Poplar Street. Construction of 2 multiple family dwellings totaling 16 units, 1 2-story 4-unit and 1 3-story 12-unit. Submitted by Loomis Park Opportunity Fund LLC. Property is located in a WR waterfront residential zoning district. As such, it's subject to conditional use approval, and that's the purpose of today's presentation. We do have an architect with us, Matt. I can turn things over to you if you'd like to begin the presentation to the Planning Commission. Just let me know when you'd like me to. I think actually you can share your screen then, I believe.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for hearing me today, and I'll share my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so first I'll just say my name is Matthew from Beluti. I work at Interface Studio Architects in Philadelphia. This is our first project in Pennsylvania, but we've done a number of other projects, Pittsburgh, mostly in Philadelphia. We specialize in multifamily housing, anything from single houses to kind of larger mid-rise buildings. So this type of project is exactly what we enjoy doing, and I hope that you'll kind of appreciate the care that we put into this. So this project is at 102 Poplar Street. I'll kind of zoom through a little bit of this, but the site is on the waterfront. It's between 2nd Street and Front Street, right on Lake Erie. The bluff that goes down to the lake is directly to the north of the site. So there's some really great views in this area. It's a really beautiful area. So the site is in a mainly residential district here, waterfront residential. And we have kind of 2 different ideas here. So we split the building into parts. So one idea is, we want to maximize the views, really bring the people who are going to live there, to the waterfront views. So we wanted to extend the building out to the north, but we also wanted to keep the building aligned and more interactive with the neighborhood to the south. So we have 2 different buildings on site. We have a 12-unit multifamily building. So it's a 3-story tall building with 4 units per floor. Each unit has a balcony that goes out to the north. And then that building is pulled all the way to the north of the site. And then on the south side of the site, along 2nd Street in the more residential area, we have a smaller scale 2-story building, which is a row of 4 townhouses. So these would be 4 rent townhouses, but they're effectively, is effectively one building, but there are 4 units within it that function as townhouses. So those townhouses face 2nd Street where the neighborhood is. Each one has a front yard with a patio and a front door. And then between them, there's the parking lot, surface space parking for 22 spaces, which is more than at a 1-to-1 ratio. That parking is accessible off of Poplar Street. So we're pulling the drive aisle off onto a secondary street so that 2nd Street in the neighborhood doesn't have a lot of driveways and garages there. The unit mix is a mix of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and there's a single studio unit in there as well. So one of the reasons why we have more parking spaces is because we have a number of 2-bedroom units, and some people will probably have 2 cars. So in section, you can see the buildings are, relatively modest in height. The townhome building that's on 2nd Street is about, pitched roof, similar style to everything else that's built there, about, 30 feet tall to the very top. And then the multifamily building in the back has a pitched roof that maxes out at 45'9" to the very peak of it. This section is showing the space for mechanical units, but as we've done a little bit more work on the mechanical, we won't be having a space there. So it will all be a pitched roof with no mechanical area on top. Each one of the units in the multifamily building are flats, while as each one of the units of the townhomes is a 2-story walk-up town. And if I'm going too quickly here, please just interrupt me and ask me any questions as they come up. The plans of the multifamily and the townhomes are pretty straightforward. Like I said, it is a single stair building with 4 units per floor. We have a trash mechanical area and a lobby with a bike room. So we will have, some area for people to ride bikes in there, with a single stair that goes up to, mostly 2 bedrooms on the side and 1 bedroom in the middle. As I said before, each unit has lots of windows, and we'll have balconies to the north side to face the lake. The townhomes, we're not showing the interiors of the townhome here, but the first floor is going to be the living space, living, kitchen, dining room, 1 large open space, and then the upper floor will be 2 bedrooms. So this is a view of the multifamily building from Front Street. So this is looking from the north side to Front Street. You can see the balconies here and the pitched roof. We're doing something kind of interesting with the balconies here, building them out a little bit with a semi-transparent material. Here we're showing it as perforated metal. We're not huge fans of the way a lot of the times the balconies look like they're just bolted on or stuck onto the side of the building. So we're extending the eave of the building over them so that the balconies themselves can be a little bit more integrated with the overall design and shape of the building. The materials that we're using are a shingle on most of the building. So shingle, and in fact, we're probably going to end up using a fiber cement shingle. It's something that's kind of has a feel of the lakeside or the residential area, with an accented area of wood siding, likely cedar siding. So the main 2 materials are going to be a darker colored fiber cement shingle and a lighter colored wood siding with a semi-transparent perforated metal on the balconies here.
So I'm going to jump in. I've got, I guess, a question. Have you visited the neighborhood this is in?
I have not personally visited the neighborhood, no.
Okay, so I guess, and that leads to my comments. While these are beautiful renderings, I appreciate design effort in them. The aesthetics, to me, as somebody who lives over in this area, really stands out as being kind of out of place with what that neighborhood, the feel of that neighborhood. It doesn't really fit in. It looks like it's something that would be very pronounced and out of place. I'm curious what considerations or what openness is there to revisiting some of maybe the aesthetics of it, whether it's the color scheme or materials other than metals, harsh metals like that.
I mean, we're always open to it. I'll say that this. I'll go to the next slide. In just a minute. I'll say that this facade, this space here, is a little bit more modern looking. This is the face that faces Front Street, so it faces the water. So this particular facade that we're looking at is going to be less visible to the neighborhood as a whole. I'll skip over to the next slide. This is the 2nd Street side, and I understand exactly what you're saying in terms of maybe we can revisit the materials, but this side is supposed to be a little bit more in line with the neighborhood or the scale and the context of it, where we had individual buildings with a pitched roof. We're showing a little canopy, which is kind of a modern touch, I guess. But there is a patio and a front yard to each one of these houses here. So we're hoping that this particular facade is the one that will be facing more toward this neighborhood, and that people will be more interacting with as they go around.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess just as a comment, Front Street does wrap around these properties, so, cuts between these and the Bayfront there, but just more of commentary. And I guess sort of as a follow-up, this perspective doesn't seem to show some of the large trees presently there, closer to between the Bay and Front Street side of it. Is the plan to kind of clear that out, clear out the whole lot, or are these you expecting to retain some of the vegetation?
We would probably not be retaining any vegetation on the actual lot. In terms of vegetation that might be on the tree, the yard in front, against the road and everything, we would take every effort to retain that. But in terms of the vegetation that's on the site, we'll have to look at exactly what's there, but we would probably be removing much of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I got a question. Has anybody from your organization met with the ROS Bayfront, the neighborhood group that oversees this neighborhood?
No one from our organization has. The owner of the project has done other projects within, has done a few other projects in the neighborhood, and I think has met with them on other occasions. He's from the area.
I don't think that's the case. I just feel like that's something you guys should do as a step in the process here, because I'm a board member of the ROS Bayfront, and our organization has been getting pretty frustrated with the lack of communication and then these alien designs that don't relate to the context of the aesthetics of our neighborhood. I drive by this site every day, and all the other houses have front porches and gables. This is going to stand out like a sore thumb. It's pretty flat on the sides. I get you're trying to go for the modern look, but I don't think you're getting published in an architectural record with this.
But that's design and review, right?
I know. I can't.
That's design and review, but,
Well,
it'd be nice.
the goal isn't to get. I understand your comments here. So I think that the final. This is a rendering where a lot of things look a little bit smoother probably than they will end up being. But any comments you have, please let us know.
So Tully, let me highlight something for you. On the front porch thing, the ROS Bayfront neighborhood where this is located, we have an event coming up in a month called Porch Fest, where we have rotating bands play on front porches in the neighborhood. You could not host a Porch Fest band on these tiny little decks.
Well, each one of the yards, we
these are to me.
can look to expand the decks here. Each one of the yards here is 15 feet deep and it's pretty long. So, with the design of the patio is, I feel like the hedge here that's being shown is probably shrinking the actual size of the usable front yard for these houses.
Yeah, I think maybe, I think it would be helpful, for maybe some more individuals on the design team to actually see the space and walk the neighborhood a little bit. There's, some fantastic historical buildings there. I think it would provide a really good sense of the neighborhood, some of the details that stand out and make it unique, as well as meeting with the West Bayfront organization to understand not only programming, but the goals of kind of really building this neighborhood to its full potential.
Hey, Jake, I've got a question for you. The things that are being asked right now, that doesn't come under the City Planning Commission, correct? Is that design and review?
Well, Design Review had an opportunity to review the project on August 3rd.
Right.
And they did submit a recommendation for approval.
Okay.
That it met Section 306 as far as the design guidelines.
Okay, so then when we vote on this, it goes to city council, then that gives the people the right to come in and say, hey, you know, we don't like what you're doing here, we don't like your design, correct?
Any public meeting, any
Okay.
public forum, you know, folks have an opportunity to look at what's being submitted and
Okay.
obviously
I
critique.
mean, this is
or
just for my own
make
knowledge here,
suggestions.
because I want to know that, okay.
Yes.
Meeting, okay. But what's in front of us? Okay, okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on this?
I had one other, and I know it might be minute. I'm curious, when you look at sort of design side of it, you know, are considerations being made to include things such as EV charging? I know obviously you've got a large, you know, parking lot, which is great to get parking off the street, but looking at how things are changing, is that being taken into account?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I think I missed the first part.
Any considerations being made for EV charging?
Not currently. We do have, you know, more parking spaces than, you know, we have a larger than a 1-to-1 ratio. So, you know, if that was a concern for the community, I'm sure that, you know, an extra EV parking space or two could be accommodated.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, we don't have a problem with this, so I need a motion to send this to city council. And that would be
I'll
after
motion.
this. I have a question.
No. I will make a motion to recommend approval to the city council.
City council.
Yes.
Okay. I need a second, and I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yes, what would you like to say?
Ed Kissel, 2815 Sigsbee. I may question the procedure you just used. You already made the motion to pass it on to City Council without hearing public comment that may persuade you to change or make a recommendation, which this board can do. So I just bring that up as a procedural type of thing. I personally know that area, and I think that box type of design on a waterfront in a historical neighborhood is not an appropriate look. I also question, and I didn't study the property line, but I do know from past experience that the property line goes from Liberty to Poplar and from Liberty to Plum on an angle. And a number of years ago, no one knew that Front Street was still in the state's hands and had to be transferred to the Erie Western Port Authority, and also some land to the property owners. I may ask the architect or developer, the house that was on the corner of Front and Poplar, I believe Cicini House, was that property sold to you?
If there was a house on this, I mean, I guess that would be a question for the owner, but the property that we are looking at there is a property directly to the north that is owned by the Port Authority. So the house that is currently on the corner of Poplar and 2nd Street is part of this property.
No, Front and Poplar, the blue house that's on the
Yeah, the blue
north,
house that's on the property is right where the proposed multifamily building is.
where the large tree is out front at that residence. Is that your property?
I'm sorry, the large tree is directly to the north. The large tree is still on the Port Authority property.
Yes. Now, you are right behind that on the property line of that particular property that I take it you bought? That house is
Yes.
that house is going to be demolished, I take it, if this project goes through?
Yes.
Okay. And then the vacant lot off to your west boundary line, will anything be extended? Did you buy that property from the existing condos on Second Street over to the corner of Second and Poplar?
No, the only properties that the owner owns in this project are the one shown here. We don't own anything else.
Just that
To the left or
102?
to the-
How close are you to the property line of the Port Authority on your west property line?
On the west property line, 6 feet.
Only 6 feet? Okay. And out front from your property line to the Port Authority line, how far is that?
Are you saying on the north side?
Yes,
6 feet?
6 feet. Okay. And then you have the right-of-way of Front Street in front of your place with only a 6-foot, are you going to be required to put a sidewalk in there?
No, I was saying that on the north side, Front Street is not on the north side. There's that parcel that's owned by the Port Authority with the large tree that you just referenced. So we have no frontage on Front Street.
But in front of your property from Poplar Street going west, are you going to be required to put a sidewalk in abutting Front Street so people could walk in front of your property across towards Liberty Street?
Well, there's a sidewalk on West Second Street and Poplar Street, and as I said, Front Street is up to the top. Our property does not border Front Street, so we will not be adding a sidewalk on Front Street.
Aren't you required to put a sidewalk in on the front? No?
That portion of Front Street's Port Authority property is not city right of way.
I understand that, but the front of their complex,
I'm sorry, I don't have an overall map showing all of the parcels. I can try and draw here.
okay, you're set back, but you're only 6 feet away from Front Street on the north side.
No, we're 6 feet away from another parcel. This is another parcel that you just referenced that is owned by the Port Authority. That is not part of our project at all.
Okay, I was clarified, yes, thank you. I was just shown a drawing of that. What kind of rent on the units are you looking for?
I can personally ask that. I mean, there would be market rate. I can't personally speak to what the rents would be on the units.
Okay, and are there any fencing proposed?
Yeah, let me, sorry, I'm just going to go back to the other, yeah, there would be there would be some fencing along, there'd be some trees, as a tree cover along the side that's to the west. There'd be some trees and a little bit of fencing over here on the eastern side as well. I can't speak right now to if there would be fencing. There probably would not be any fencing on the north side or the east side.
And is
There
the,
may be right here because we are planning on a patio for use, but
the driveway coming in off of Poplar Street on the east, is that going to be a gated entrance?
I think that I don't have an answer for that right now. I don't believe that it would be gated, but that would ultimately be a question for the owner.
Okay. And how did the concept of the design of this in that location come about? The architectural design?
You're referring to the look of the buildings?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go back to this look. We kind of it's kind of a modern aesthetic on the traditional design of the pitched roof house that's in the neighborhood. I mean, I think some of the other people in the board have already noted, that it's a little bit more clean lined and doesn't have a lot of the gables, but that is kind of the modern look that we kind of appreciate. We think kind of adds something. We kind of think adds something to the architecture. The materials are, cedar, a shake that is not too dissimilar to what you kind of see in the neighborhood or in other locations kind of on the lakefront, along with the wood siding too. So we're kind of looking for natural materials that are here, along with the modern aesthetic that kind of doesn't ape what's going on in the neighborhood, but evokes the shape of the buildings that are around there and fits in.
The only reason I bring that up, if you look at what was constructed on the 8 to 900 block on West 2nd, you look from down below the bluff or you take a ride over Front Street, that building looks so much out of place. However, if you go over to Front and Sassafras and see those condos that kind of blend in with a period look of Erie's old Bayfront, I think that may give you a few suggestions on what your buildings could look like compared to the ones that are presently on the Bayfront. So thank you.
Thank you. Jake, I got a question for you. When you come out, now we've already approved this, so hey, thanks for your help on that. This that you hand us every month, where it says public comment, is there supposed to be public comment next to everything we talk about? Procedure-wise, I want that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the chair has discretion to allow public
Okay.
comment at any time.
Okay.
But
I mean, I'm just going by
We do show it as a
this.
separate agenda item as well.
Okay. Then that answered that question, because I'm just looking at this and it says it's an after that, so, okay. All right, we don't have anything else going on today, right? It's just that number 3. Correct?
Correct.
All right, then we should be finished. I need a motion to adjourn. And a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.